What's up, George? It's about that time again, my friend.
Yes,
you know
it
what time
is. Yes, it is.
UFC.
Oh, it's that time?
Yeah, that time. I see you're like popping a boner over it, man.
Well, it's just, I mean, I understand why this fight that we're getting ready to talk about's free.
Yeah.
And it's obviously great for everyone who's followed the show. I haven't, so it'll be great for me to watch it. I hope these people come out and put on an absolute show and go for broke, because I mean, you're going to get a mix of what I don't understand is there's only one female fight from the house, but then every other man alive who don't even have pictures on the UFC website is going to be on this card.
Yeah, it's gonna. There's actually two girls. There's another girl, Jessamine Duke and Peggy Morgan. We can start out with that. They're going to be fighting.
Well, here's what I don't understand. If this was a house split between men and women, and you have 1, 2, 3, you got 6, 7, 8, 9 fights
George,
on the main card.
Before all you guys, who are not following, who are losses, we're talking about the Tough 18 finale, which is happening this Saturday, November 30th. So go ahead, George.
Yeah, they have 9 total fights on TV on the main card, and only one's female. That's not fair, dude. Look, I haven't watched the show. I haven't kept up with it, but I'm figuring if there's guys and girls, if there's 9 fights, why isn't it try to split it as evenly as you can on the main card? Are you telling me the women talent wasn't that great?
But I mean, I thought the women, the female talent on that show outshined the male talent, in my opinion. I mean, the male shit ended up being a clusterfuck with guys not making weight and everything like that. I saw 3 or 4 female bantamweights that are like, they're going to be nasty, and they have, the girl. As of right now, George, in the finale, they have Juliana Pena, and she's going to be going up against either Raquel Pennington or either Jessica Rakowski. Now, we don't know who will be in that final against Juliana Pena, but I tell you what, it doesn't matter who she's meeting. Both of those girls are nasty on the other side. And if you look at the 4 semifinalists, they're all great fighters. Really good fighters.
I'm sorry, I miscounted. There's only 8 fights on the main card. With the head, 8 on the main card, with the headliner being Gray Maynard versus Nate Diaz. So
right, and there's two female fights actually. There's another
not on the main card.
No, on the main card there's just
the one. It's Pena versus somebody. On UFC website it says to be determined.
Oh no, they're on they're saying Jessamine Duke is going to fight Peggy Moran also on that card. That's what they're saying. So who knows? Because it's always constantly changing. But let's skip over all that because that's still to be determined. I think what a lot of people are going to be tuning in, I mean, to be honest with you, is going to be the rematch of Gray Maynard and Nate Diaz. And George, we were actually at this event last time because it was up the street at George Mason, and it ended up in a split decision. And I tell you what, man, I don't know. It's funny because they both have been struggling lately. You know what I mean? Maynard hasn't looked like himself lately. I mean,
both need a win.
They both need a win. They really do. And it was about the last time they fought. I'm going to tell you, man. What freaked me out. I mean, Nate Diaz doesn't. He peppers people and he's very methodical in his fight. And he doesn't really put you away all the time. Maynard's been knocked out a couple times. I think two times he's been finished 2 times out of his last 3 fights. I don't know if Nate Diaz is the man to do that, but who do you got winning this shit?
I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go to the decision again. I don't think Gray's gonna be able to take Nate down. I think Nate's takedown defense is better than Gray's ability to get a takedown on him. I see it going to the decision, and probably is going to be a split again because I don't give a shit what anyone says. These judges are awful, and I don't understand how you even calculate ring control, especially in a fight like we just saw with Hendricks versus GSP. But okay,
right.
I'm going to go with Maynard. I mean, I don't know. I'd flip a coin. I'd have to say it's a pretty even matchup.
Right. I think it's going to be. I mean. I don't know. I just hope it's a fucking eventful fight. You know what I mean? I hope it's a lot of action. I hope they both
I do too.
It
I mean, I hope the whole card is. If it's free, I mean, these kids have to go out and put on a show.
Yeah. I think I'm going to lean to Nate Diaz, man. I mean, I think he's just younger and fresher, and I think Maynard has just been on the decline lately. I think Diaz's losses were to some pretty formidable opponents.
Speaking of other things in the MMA world on a decline, not to keep banging on the still 170-pound middleweight champ GSP, but Tim Kennedy has come out and said that his lack of production, along with Rory McDonald's, is not Greg Jackson's fault, because Greg Jackson wasn't in his corner for this last fight, didn't have anything to do, and I don't even know if he was in the building, but they're blaming it on the TriStar head coach.
Right, the guy Firas Zahabi. He's saying that he's the fault. Yeah.
That's a hell of a bold statement to make, but if you look at it, I mean, GSP and Rory McDonald kind of fight the same now.
Yeah, they do kind of fight the same. And I mean, if you look at what, the articles on Bloody Elbow, I mean, if you look at what he's saying, what Tim Kennedy said, he's got a good point, and he's got a lot of shit to back it up. It's not like he's just pulling shit out of his fucking asshole. He's got a lot of legitimate things. If you sit back and see what he's saying, he's making a good point. A solid point. And, Greg Jackson fighters, and you and I both, George, we've wrote that camp a couple times saying, they're fighting too conservative. But this guy, Kennedy says, well, if you really look at it, it's this guy's fighters, and the people in Jackson's camp have been finishing fights. And he's right. I mean, if you really look at it, what he's saying, it makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, so that's interesting in MMA news. I don't know if there's any other real big MMA news. I know Nog wants to slated for a comeback, and he wants to fight Roy Nelson. And John Jones said a super fight with Cain Velasquez would be great for the sport. And I'm like, young man, you will get your ass whipped. But that's just my opinion. I think John Jones's mouth is right in his ass. A check it can't cash, because son, you don't. That's not a sharp idea. That's not good.
I agree.
The more I watch John Jones, and this is going to sound crazy, the less I'm getting impressed with the guy.
Well, yeah, I think he's, you get to the point where people start to, the more and more you fight, people start to develop a blueprint on how to beat you. And I think Alexander Gustafsson really helped develop that blueprint. So,
yeah,
I mean,